Welcome to today's Explainer. Look, today we're unpacking a story that's going to absolutely fundamentally challenge how you view your daily routine. We are diving into the catalyst of choice, Michael's transformation. And honestly, this isn't just a story about one guy. It's a literal blueprint for how monumental, life-altering success almost always starts with just a single, seemingly tiny choice. If you've ever felt like you're just kind of spinning your wheels, or if your grand ambitions feel, totally disconnected from your day-to-day reality, well, this breakdown is exactly what you need. We're going to map out exactly how that massive gap between dreaming and doing is actually bridged.
So I want you to really think about this for a second. Have you ever wondered how one small decision can completely change your life? Seriously. We tend to think of life transformations as these massive Hollywood-style explosions, right? Like a sudden inheritance, winning the lottery, or some random stroke of genius. But the source material we're digging into today suggests something entirely different. It suggests that the trajectory of your whole future actually pivots on these tiny, quiet, almost invisible moments of decision.
Section 1. The Trap of Tomorrow. The Cycle of Excuses.
Now, this was the reality for a young man named Michael. He was just a regular guy full of grand ambitions. He knew for sure he wanted more out of life. But those big dreams, they were constantly derailed by daily excuses. And his absolute favorite phrase was, "I'll start tomorrow." I mean, we've all been there, right? But for Michael, tomorrow quickly morphed into next week. And next week morphed into next month. Before he even knew it hit him, years had passed and absolutely nothing had changed. It's like that gap between dreaming and doing, that is exactly where potential goes to die.
Moving on to Section 2. The Catalyst of Choice. An Unexpected Mentor. So picture this. It's a quiet evening in a local park. Michael's sitting there all alone, just feeling the crushing weight of all those wasted tomorrows, when this elderly man who's just feeding the birds strikes up a conversation. Michael basically confesses that he has these big dreams but feels completely trapped. The old man notices his frustration, smiles, and drops this simple, absolutely piercing observation. He says, "Your future isn't changed by luck, it's changed by decisions." Just let that sink in for a second. It wasn't some long, drawn-out lecture, but it completely shattered Michael's reliance on hoping for a lucky break. That whole excuse of waiting for the right time was instantly stripped away, leaving him with nothing but his own agency.
Section 3. The 1% Rule. Crossing the Threshold.
The very next morning, Michael finally crossed over from just feeling inspired into actual physical reality. Instead of sleeping late like he usually did, he created an immediate, totally unglamorous action plan. We're talking waking up at 5 a.m., reading books, learning new skills, and putting an end to the endless social media scroll. There's literally no magic trick here. These were practical, highly grounded habits meant to forcefully replace his daily excuses. He swapped out the passive consumption of social media for the active, intentional pursuit of learning.
And the engine behind all those new habits? 1%. That was the whole secret. Every single day, Michael just aimed to improve by exactly 1%. He wasn't trying to build some massive business empire in 24 hours. No way. He was just trying to be 1% better than the guy who went to sleep the night before. This really highlights the compounding magic of micro-improvements. It sets a rock-solid foundation simply because it makes the whole process sustainable.
Section 4. The Road of Trials. Facing the Resistance.
Because, obviously, it wasn't a totally smooth ride to the finish line. At first, nobody even noticed Michael's 1% improvements. His friends actually laughed at him. But still, he kept at it, and 1 year into his journey, Michael took a massive leap and started his own online business. But the reward wasn't instant success. Actually, it was failure. It was loss. It was rejection. The resistance was incredibly real, and I mean, there were so many times when the desire to just throw in the towel and quit was absolutely crushing. But in those dark, difficult moments, he kept returning to his anchor. Your future isn't changed by luck, it's changed by decisions. When the business failed, he decided to try again. When he faced rejection, he decided not to take it personally. Just remembering that exact phrase from the park gave Michael the mental fortitude he needed to endure the brutal grind of entrepreneurship.
Which brings us to Section 5. The Ultimate Transformation. The Compound Effect.
This is exactly what happens when relentless consistency meets time. The snowball effect of those tiny daily choices finally became visible. In the days, weeks, and months following that decision in the park, the growth was mostly internal, growing knowledge, growing confidence, and slowly growing opportunities. But by year 1, he launched his business. Fast forward 3 years, that business became highly successful. He became financially free, traveling the world. And honestly, most importantly, he finally became the person he had always wanted to be.
Sometime later, Michael actually spotted that same old man in the very same park. He walked right up, smiled, and said, "You changed my life." But the old man just shook his head and said, "No, son, I only gave you advice. You made the decision." And wow, that is the crucial realization here. The power to change Michael's life was never in the hands of a mentor or a lucky break or some perfect opportunity. The power was literally always in Michael's own hands.
So, let's break down the core message of this whole explainer. Success does not come from one giant, terrifying leap into the unknown. It's just the accumulation of distinct, positive choices. It's one decision to start, one decision to learn something new, one decision to work a little bit harder today, and one decision to never, ever give up when things get tough.
Which means it is time to turn the lens entirely back onto you. What is the one decision you can make right now that could change your life forever? Because your future isn't some distant place you're traveling to. It is being actively created by the choices you are making today, right now, this very minute. So, are you going to choose the trap of tomorrow, or are you going to choose the start?
And that brings us to our final takeaway. The moral of Michael's story is clear. A single positive decision followed by consistent action can completely transform your future. So don't wait for luck. Definitely don't wait for tomorrow. Make the decision today, stick to it with that 1% rule, and just watch how it compounds. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I really hope it leaves you energized to take immediate action in your own life.